The wind howled across the metal plains of Ithera Prime, a distant world where the sky shimmered with emerald clouds. Captain Elias Ward stood at the edge of the ceremonial platform, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. The air smelled of ozone and burning incense. Around him, hundreds of alien eyes glowed in the half-light, silent witnesses to a wedding he had never wanted. He was a soldier of Earth's expeditionary fleet, captured 3 months earlier after his ship crash-landed in the northern territories of Ithera. The Itherans, tall, pale-skinned beings with crystalline markings that shimmered like ice, had taken him prisoner, treating him as both curiosity and enemy. And now, the High Council had declared that he would marry one of their own. Her name was Lyra. She was the daughter of the High Chancellor, known for her sharp mind and colder heart. Elias had seen her only once before, standing at the head of his cell, her violet eyes studying him as though he were a problem to be solved. He had begged for freedom. Instead, they had offered him a bride. Now, as the silver robes of ceremony were draped over his shoulders, he felt the final link of the chain close. He looked up as Lyra approached the platform. Her silver gown flowed like liquid light, and the faint glow of her markings made her seem more spirit than flesh. She stopped before him. "Elias Ward of Earth," she said, her voice calm, melodic, and unreadable. "Do you consent to this union?" He clenched his jaw. "Does it matter?" The crowd murmured. Lyra didn't flinch. "No," she replied softly. "It doesn't." The officiant began the chant. Elias barely heard it. When the ceremony ended, a band of crystal was clasped around his wrist, the symbol of binding. The crowd cheered in their strange, harmonic voices. Lyra offered her hand, and he took it out of duty, not desire. That night, they were taken to a chamber high in the crystalline tower overlooking the city. The walls pulsed faintly with light, alive with energy. Elias stood by the window, staring at the twin moons beyond the clouds. "I didn't ask for this," he said finally. "I know," Lyra replied, removing her headpiece. Her long, pale hair shimmered faintly in the dim glow. "Neither did I." He turned. "Then why do it?" "Because the Council believes our union will end the war between our worlds," she said. "They think love can be manufactured. Peace too." He scoffed. "They'll get neither." She smiled faintly, but there was sadness in it. "Perhaps not. But we can choose what happens within these walls." He expected her to be cruel, distant. Instead, she approached slowly and placed her hand over the crystal band around his wrist. "You are bound to me by law," she said softly. "But not by force." Then she did something unexpected. She pressed her other hand against her own wrist, and a soft hum filled the air. The band around his wrist flickered and vanished. Elias stared. "What did you do?" "I released you," she said simply. "You can go." For a moment he didn't move. The door behind her glowed faintly, signaling the way out. He could escape, perhaps even find a ship or contact the Earth fleet. But something in her tone stopped him. "If I leave," he said slowly, "what happens to you?" "The Council will strip me of my rank," she replied. "Perhaps worse." "Why would you risk that?" Lyra looked at him, then really looked at him. "Because peace cannot be built on chains. If you wish to go home, go as a free man. Not as my prisoner." Elias hesitated. The cold distrust he'd felt began to soften. He saw not an alien or enemy before him, but someone brave enough to defy her own people. He didn't leave that night. Instead they talked. About her world, his ship, the wars that had turned both species into enemies. She told him about the dying suns beyond their border, how her people feared extinction. He spoke of Earth's desperation for new worlds. Somewhere in that exchange of pain and memory, a fragile bridge began to form. Days passed. Lyra's defiance spread through whispers in the palace halls. Some called her a traitor, others a visionary. Yet within their private chamber, the tension between them changed. Elias found himself drawn to her quiet strength, to the way her laughter sounded like music against the humming walls. She showed him how to read the light patterns on Ithran crystals, how each glow was a form of thought. He taught her Earth's words for rain, for home, for forgiveness. One evening, as they stood by the balcony, watching lightning dance across the horizon, Elias spoke. "You could have let me go. Why did you keep me here?" Lyra smiled. "I told you you were free. But you stayed." He stepped closer. "Maybe because I found something worth staying for." For a long moment she said nothing. Then she turned toward him, her eyes reflecting the moon's. "Then let us make this real," she whispered. When he kissed her, it was not a union of politics or obligation. It was the beginning of something fragile and real, born from defiance and choice. But peace never comes without a price. 2 nights later, soldiers came. The council had discovered her act of rebellion. They stormed the tower, demanding Elias's arrest and Lyra's trial for treason. Elias fought, disarming one guard before they overwhelmed him. Lyra shouted for them to stop, but the soldiers dragged him away. As they led him through the marble corridor, Lyra's voice echoed behind him. "Elias, don't give them your anger. Give them your truth." He was thrown before the High Council. The chamber shimmered with the cold light of authority. "You were given a chance at peace," the Chancellor said. "Instead, you corrupted our daughter." Elias looked up, battered but unbroken. "No, you freed me. And she's the only one among you who understands peace." The council murmured in outrage. But then Lyra entered, her gown torn, her eyes blazing. She walked straight to the center and faced them all. "If you punish him," she said clearly, "you punish me. And if you kill him, you kill the only bridge we have left." The silence that followed stretched long and heavy. Then, one by one, the council lowered their heads. That day, the first treaty between Earth and Ithra was written, not in ink, but in the courage of 2 souls who had learned to see each other beyond species and fear. Months later, Elias and Lyra stood together again on the balcony where they had first spoken as strangers. The war had ended. Ships traveled freely between their worlds. He reached for her hand, entwining his fingers with hers. "You changed everything," he whispered. She smiled, her crystal markings glowing softly. "No," she said. "We did." And as the twin moons rose over the rebuilt city, Elias knew he had not been forced into this marriage after all. He had been led to the one person who could teach him what freedom truly meant.